Demon Slayer Season 3 third episode picks up right where the second episode left off. After Tanjiro's strike, Tanjiro and Kotetsu observe the head of Yoichi Type 0 battle doll break away. To their delight, they discover a 300-year-old sword within the doll. Kotetsu suggests that Tanjiro should use the sword as he doesn't have his own, but Tanjiro refuses. However, the smith mentions that the sword is made of the highest quality Sengoku period steel, and Tanjiro deserves the right to use it as he was the one to uncover it. Unfortunately, the duo's excitement turns to disappointment as they draw out the blade and find it heavily rusted. Kotetsu apologizes for getting Tanjiro's hopes up, and Tanjiro accepts with tears of disappointment in his eyes. Suddenly, they feel the ground shake from the heavy footsteps of Hotari Nezuko, who has now become extremely muscular. Hotari claims that the sword should be left to him, leaving Tanjiro and Kotetsu confused as they believe it should go to Kotetsu. They attempt to resist Hotari's claim, but he forcefully takes the sword from them, pushing them to the ground. Despite Tanjiro mentioning that he had been looking for Hotari, the older swordsmith remains silent. Kozo Kanamori then appears and demonstrates how to calm Hotari down by tickling his sides, which surprises Tanjiro. Kozo explains that Hotari had isolated himself in the mountains to train and create a sword that would never break for him. Tanjiro was left astonished by this revelation. Kozo continues that Hotari is grateful to Tanjiro for having faith in him to create a sword, as other demon slayers tend to dislike him due to his poor social skills, according to Kotetsu. Hotari wakes up and enthusiastically announces that he will restore the rusty blade. However, Kotetsu points out that Hotari could have mentioned that earlier and proceeds to tease him a little, which angers the muscular smith, causing him to grab Kotetsu. To save Kotetsu, Tanjiro and Kozo quickly tickle Hotari until he tires himself out. Before leaving, Hotari gives Tanjiro another sword to use temporarily, which Tanjiro is grateful for. The next day, Tanjiro has a seemingly one-sided conversation with Genya about Hotari's plan to extensively polish the rusty sword, the procedure which has killed people before. Tanjiro grows concerned for Hotari's safety and mentions it to Genya, who refuses to listen to him and demands that Tanjiro not speak to him as a friend. Tanjiro was puzzled by Genya's denial of their friendship, and Genya explains that it is because Tanjiro had broken his arm during the final selection in the first season. However, Tanjiro states that it was due to Genya hitting a girl. Tanjiro offers Genya a rice cracker, but Genya smashes it instead. While listening to Genya speak, Tanjiro notices that he is missing a tooth, but Genya denies it. Tanjiro pulls out the missing tooth, intending to return it to Genya, but Genya is disgusted and kicks him out of the room. Later, while braiding Nezuko's hair in Mitsuri style, Tanjiro reflects on Genya's constant anger and wonders if it's because he's hungry. On his way back home from the hot springs, a swordsmith discovers an ornate vase on the steps. As he tries to grab it, he is suddenly pulled inside and crushed until he is barely alive. Juko emerges from the vase and expresses his dislike for the taste of swordsmiths. He has infiltrated the Swordsmith Village with the goal of destroying it and crippling the demon slayers. Meanwhile, Hantengu, who has also infiltrated the village, recalls Muzan's anger at the meeting and decides that killing everyone in the village will please him. Genya enters his swordsmith's hut in the forest and sees his completed Nichiren sword. He thinks about his older brother and feels that he has to do something. Upon being awakened by a nose pinch, Tanjiro finds that it is Muichiro who is looking for Kozo Kanamori, his new swordsmith. Tanjiro offers to help and suggests that they check with Hotari if Kozo is with him. Muichiro is surprised by Tanjiro's willingness to help others and asks him about his kind nature. Tanjiro responds by stating that helping people will eventually benefit him and suggests they go together since it's convenient. Tanjiro's response takes aback Muichiro and asks him to repeat it. As Nezuko wakes up and moves about cheerfully, Tanjiro invites Muichiro to accompany them. The Hashira finds Nezuko's behavior peculiar but cannot explain why. Out of nowhere, a sobbing and nervous Hantengu appears outside their room. His unexpected presence surprises Tanjiro and Muichiro, but they quickly deduce that he is an upper-rank demon. The Hashira unsheathes his sword and uses an advanced attack to approach the demon and strike swiftly, but Hantengu evades and ends up on the ceiling with a minor cut. He begs them to stop as he regenerates. Despite his anxiety, Tanjiro quickly calms himself and employs his own attack, but it misses its target again as Hantengu is now on the ground. The demon doesn't seem to be fighting back, confusing Tanjiro even more. Nezuko then grows in size and delivers a powerful kick that sends the demon flying into the wall. Still, Tanjiro warns her against using that technique. as it will hasten her transformation into a full demon who cannot be controlled or reasoned with. With Hantengu stunned by the attack, Muichiro seizes the opportunity and decapitates him. However, Tanjiro remembers that beheading alone is not enough to kill upper-ranked demons, so he cautions Muichiro to stay alert. Suddenly, the demon's severed head changes its appearance, and a new body emerges from it, while the headless body gains a new head and form. Tanjiro decides to engage the demon standing in front of him, while Muichiro goes after the one in front of him. Before he can strike it with his blade, the demon creates a powerful gust of wind, knocking the missed Hashira far away into the distance and causing more destruction to the room. Nezuko has to hold Tanjiro down to prevent him from being blown away too. The demon who created the wind is revealed to be the manifestation of pleasure, who then asks his companion, Sekito, if he agrees that this battle is fun. The manifestation of anger, however, does not find it amusing and instead rages at the demon, Karaku, for being joined with him. Tanjiro attempts to formulate a plan to defeat the two demons, but Sekito uses his weapon to summon bolts of electricity, immobilizing the siblings. Tanjiro almost loses consciousness, but he sees someone on the roof above them, Genya, who fires his double-barrel shotgun, using a Nichiren steel shot to behead Sekito and partially sever Karaku's neck. As Genya runs down to finish off the second demon, Karaku finds enjoyment in a new attack on him. Tanjiro warns Genya that beheading the demons is not enough to kill them, as they will regenerate new bodies and heads, which is Hantengu's unique power. Genya beheads Karaku, and Tanjiro realizes that he cannot find a weak spot in the demons since they all heal at the same rate. Tanjiro suddenly notices that one demon is missing, and the winged demon then pulls him up while Genya is impaled with a spear. Nezuko tries to help but cannot reach him in time, and Tanjiro tells her to assist Genya instead. Tanjiro then becomes horrified at the sight of Genya's impalement as he is flown away by the winged demon. As Tanjiro tries to continue the fight to save the village, the winged demon taunts and mocks him for being more concerned about others than himself. He tries to attack, but the demon's powerful sonic shriek hits him and makes him bleed, only managing to cut the leg holding him. He falls to the ground and struggles to get up, but his body feels numb, and he can no longer hear anything due to the attack. Suddenly, he notices that the demon's leg is still clutching him, and he turns to see a new head forming and preparing to unleash another sonic strike. After landing safely, though far away from the battle, Muichiro rushes back to assist Tanjiro against the demon. However, he notices a fish-like demon attempting to devour Kotetsu, who is defenseless due to his lack of swordsmanship skills. Muichiro decides that helping the child is not a priority at the moment and proceeds towards the main body of the demon, suspecting that the fish-like creature is a mere decoy. He understands that locating and defeating the main demon is crucial, as is protecting the chief when the demon snatches Kotetsu. Muichiro suddenly recalls Tanjiro's words about how helping others can ultimately be beneficial, and he stops moving. Just as the fish demon is about to crush Kotetsu in its strong grip, its arm is sliced off, freeing the young swordsmith from its grasp. Muichiro quickly moves in front of Kotetsu and assumes a fighting stance, instructing the boy to flee as he would only impede the battle as the episode ends.